What in the world is Greek Prime Minister Papandreou thinking? His call for a referendum is going to lead to Greece's default, a cash flow default, a catastrophe for the economy. I'm all for democracy, but this looks like the wrong time and way to do it. Let's bring in our friend Nick Burns, former U.S. ambassador to Greece, former Undersecretary of State, and now teaching at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. Nick, as I said, I'm all for referendums. I'm all for democracy, but this looks like a catastrophe. What is Papandreou thinking? Why now?
Well, Larry, I also fear this is a major miscalculation on the part of George Papandreou. It's a huge risk that he's taken because you can see what the reaction has been. His own party does not like this. He may or may not survive a vote of confidence in the Greek parliament later this week. He has angered the European leadership, specifically Angela Merkel and Nicolas Sarkozy, because he took them by surprise. They went out on a limb for him at several junctures over the last 6 or 7 months with these large bailout packages, and now he's put everything at risk. I think, Larry, that George Papandreou is many things. He's a very highly principled person. He's a smart person. His people say that he made the calculation that this issue is of such enormous importance to the future of Greece. It could only be decided by the people. But to decide it at this stage, rather than a year ago, seems to make little political sense and seems to be fraught with danger.
Or 6 months from now. See, I am all for these referendums. I think one of the problems with the EU, this is just me talking, is there's not enough individual voter involvement. There's not enough bottom-up involvement. There's too much top-down bureaucrat elitism. But, Nick, from what I gather, Merkel and Sarkozy are making it very clear that Greece is not going to get a dime of aid until the referendum takes place, which means they got to go through the rest of this month and at least into early next month. They will not survive that. And if the referendum is a no, then the whole thing blows up. This is the part I don't get. It is financially irresponsible for Papandreou to do this right now, much as it might be the right thing to do longer term.
And, Larry, I think that's right. And the practical implication is that if the Greek people understand this, understand that no more money is coming from the European Union, the IMF, and the European Central Bank, that it may lead then to the collapse of the Greek government, an early election, and the opposition, the New Democracy Party, headed by another experienced, very intelligent politician, Antonis Samaras, they, of course, have taken the position they reject the bailout plan, and they believe they can get better terms from the Europeans, which I don't think is the case. So no matter what happens, whether the government stays in power or whether it loses power, I think the loser in this deal will be the Greek people.
How apocalyptic is this in terms of Greece ultimately leaving the euro currency and maybe the eurozone? I hear a lot of that talk. You know Greece politics and you know European politics, Nick. How apocalyptic is this going to be?
You know, Larry, I was in Europe for much of the last 2 weeks in the United Kingdom and Italy, and I thought until this week that Greece at least had a chance to survive, at least had a chance to avoid a default. This program might work. Now I think the opposite. I think this makes a default by Greece much more likely in the short term, and I think that the Greek people are going to conclude politically that they probably will need a change. I think the fall of the Papandreou government is a real possibility right now, so I don't see anything good from coming from this, and it's now more likely that you're going to see calls within Greece itself to go back to the drachma and to go outside to leave the eurozone and go back to their own devices. If that happens, if Greece leaves the eurozone and the protection of the eurozone where they've profited with all the subsidies for their infrastructure projects, then I think we're looking at a sharper downturn and a more severe depression or recession in Greece itself. So
and either way, Nick, it'll spread. I mean, there is no drachma. The drachma is a romantic fantasy. You know that. Greece will never raise a dime, at least for a long time, through the drachma. No one's going to fund the drachma. No one even knows what it is.
Well, you know, the irony here, Larry, is that the Greek people are very much attached to the European Union because they've been a net recipient of billions of euro of aid over the last 15 years. And yet the Greek people have rejected, in essence, the austerity plan that the EU has imposed on them. So Papandreou, by putting this referendum to the Greek people, if it is held, they're going to have to make this weighty decision.
All right, the last one, just quickly, we're out of time. You're very kind. But, you know, the odd thing to me is the Greek bond haircut plan negotiated with with the banks and our friend Charles Delara and so forth, actually takes a lot of the pressure off Greece. Lower interest rates payments. I mean, that's not austere. I know there's tremendous austerity in downsizing the government and the entitlements, but by itself, the haircut is a good thing for Greece. I don't know why they're not warming to it.
Well, certainly from a macroeconomic perspective, the solution last week was a better deal for Greece than many people had expected. But look at the reality from the Greek person's perspective. Quality of life is declining, incomes are declining, employment is going to decline. The 50% of the people who work for the state sector, that will change as well.
All right, Nick Burns, thank you very much, former Undersecretary of State, former Greek ambassador, now up at the Kennedy School. Thank you, Nick.